And you said that what is decided here is not binding, and yet we've seen that on multilateral forums there have been decisions which have been binding, and then some countries have unilaterally walked out of those pacts. So is there a fear now more than ever that bilateral issues tend to overshadow the multilateral agenda?
That's what we all are afraid of. That's why we want to support multilateralism and rule-based international structures. The whole, I mean, the matter of the gist of the matter is that with these complicated issues which we have in the world, and with 7.3 billion people, how do we organize a body who makes decisions on the world as a globe? There's only one institution, which is the United Nations, but the main security or decision body is not representing the reality of today, the Security Council. It's the reality of 48. And the fact that India, 1.4 billion people are not there, is not there, if it wasn't so sad, it would be the biggest joke, but it is just not acceptable. That Latin America is not there, it's not acceptable. That Africa is not there, not acceptable. But still we have the Security Council, we have to reform it. Since this is not reformed, there was G7 and there were now the G20, so now maybe the G20 is not a perfect body, but show me another body who could do this. So that's why we have to work with what we have, even if the decision making there is, it's different, it's a consensus based, and it's more, as I said, a platform. And as I said, it's not only what you see today in the news and tomorrow that they sit together around the table. You have the Sherpa meetings beforehand, you have the working group meetings, you have the engagement groups. There are the engagement group for women, for youth, for NGOs, and for think tanks. So this is a kind of a global marketplace. Mm-hmm. Unless we have anything better, I think it's the best we have.
Right. I'm trying to understand what goes on behind the scenes as well. In the last 10 years, a lot has changed. Heads of state, of course, have changed. Global alliances have shifted. Geopolitical equations have shifted. And the way diplomacy is done has also shifted. A lot of it is spelled out in the open now. How does this impact a grouping like a G20 where, as you said, there's so much structure and yet so much is vulnerable to what may change?
Well, I think that obviously because of the social media and because of so much information that we have today, I think that all our governments have to explain to their population that have elected them what they plan to do, what they are doing, what are the obstacles, etc. So that is one of the interesting points, is that when our leaders go to a meeting like the G20, they also have to, they know what the others are saying to their public, and they have to adjust something that can be an international agreement. And at this moment in which you were saying politics about tweeting, it's essential today in politics. But this is very much directed to the population of the country that have elected the leader, which is totally legitimate, because if you've been elected by the people, you have to explain to the people what you're doing. But also, when you go out, you have to obviously deal with many realities. And obviously, all these leaders are supposed to defend the interest of their own countries. And how do you do that? How do you adjust your ideals to the realities of the world? I think this is the great challenge that diplomats have to do today, because when I talk about transparency, and I'm happy that we all agree on that, transparency doesn't mean shouting about these issues. No, transparency means explaining these issues, because we have been very superficial sometimes in dealing with some of the greatest challenges we have today. And the G20 reveals the complexity of the different priorities, of the different challenges that each country, as important as they are dealing today. And we have to respect, we have to understand, and our leaders have also to explain to their own constituencies that that was possible because of this was not possible because of this. I think this is the transparency, true dialogue.